Hello, I'm Zach Bowman. I'm going to be taking you through my rehabilitation case study. My case study is a female athlete, aged 23. She's a netball player. She's been diagnosed with Supraspinatus Tendinopathy in her right shoulder. My athlete trains 3 times a week and has a match over the weekend. Along with being a full-time netball player, she is also a student as well. I'm going to be taking you through the progressions and regressions through my middle stage rehab programming. We're going to be starting off with the first exercise. We're going to be working reverse flies. Now, we're working reverse flies because we're looking to stimulate a little bit more of the posterior deltoids, create that retraction of the scapula, work the supraspinatus, the infraspinatus, and the teres minor. We're going to be working in this middle stage around 12 to 8 reps, nice and controlled. The load is dependent on the athlete. We're looking to hit on those 12th and 8th reps. They should be hitting fatigue at that time. Throughout this, we'll be looking at form throughout and similarity with the arm height and mobility. So we're going to be starting off with the regression and progress forward. We're going to be using the bench with my athlete. I'm going to be demonstrating with some 2 kg dumbbells for this exercise. However, with the patient, it's all dependent on what load they're comfortable with and their response is. We're working off all the exercises of a VAS scale. We don't want to really hit anything higher than 5 within this program, not to further irritate the injury. So working with the injury itself, I want to get my patient to lay flat on the bench. I'm going to be demonstrating these exercises. So we're going to get my patient to lay flat on the bench like so. We're going to have their chin just off the edge and bring that head back. So by doing that, we're engaging our back muscles a little bit more and engaging the core. The weights are just going to be off to the side. Keeping that back nice and tight, we're going to engage the core and squeeze the glutes. That's going to help us engage the core a little bit deeper. We've got the weights either side, just slightly behind us, not too far, just a little bit lower than shoulder height. From there, we're going to squeeze our shoulder blades together and then open up through nice and easy like so. When we're lifting up, we're going to be leading with our pinkies. It's kind of turning away from the palms turning away from the body and then bringing them back in. We're going to have a slight bend in the elbow throughout. Not to put too much stress through the shoulder joint. So we're going to go nice and controlled. We're going to squeeze those glutes in, bring that belly button in, bring that head up slightly and retract the shoulder blades. From there, we're going to open up, hold, and then slowly bring it back down. When we're back down, we're going to bring our hands off, let our shoulders relax, retract, grip a hold of the dumbbells again, squeeze those shoulder blades together, and then bring back up whilst rotating the wrist and bring it back down. From there, what we're going to be looking for is the symmetry of the range, of the shoulder blades. We're going to be progressing this into a seated reverse fly, and we're going to be looking at about 12 to 8 reps on this one. The line one, we're going to be looking at around 15 reps is what we're going to be looking for. But now moving on to the progressing into the seated reverse flies, we're going to look at about 8 to 12 reps, increasing the load when appropriate. So from here, what we're going to do, we're going to get the patient to sit on the edge of the bench, bring our feet nice and close together. We want them to squeeze their hips, their thighs together. So we're going to get a little bit of leg contraction, iso contraction from there. We're going to hand them the weights, and we're going to have them to have their palms facing inwards. From there, we're going to sit ourselves over just slightly, bringing that belly button in, engaging that core, From there, we're going to do exactly the same. We're going to have a slight bend in our elbows, and we're going to raise up with a light rotation, and then bring it back down. We're going to bring ourselves back up, and then back down on a controlled tempo. Again, what we're looking for is the similarity of bringing this through. If the patient is struggling a little bit through the seated way, what we can do, we can have a bit more of a elevated bench, which can hold us in that position, and we can raise through there. Just because we haven't got the equipment wise, we won't be working through with that. However, what you could simulate is maybe having the bench propped up on a ledge, head close to the bench, and we're working those beginning stages of going over into a standing reverse fly. Now we're going to be progressing through on this. We're going to be looking at a standing reverse fly. This is our top end of our rehab program, because what we're looking to do is do a lot more isometric training through the hamstrings and the glutes, as well as the core isolation as well. This is important because we're trying to build up that kinetic chain of strength throughout. So with this, we're going to still be using the light dumbbells, but obviously we're going to be progressing the load with our individuals. From there, we're going to have our patient shoulder width apart, toes pointing forward. We're going to do a soft knees. Just going to take a step out here. We're going to have a soft knees, shoulders projected back, soft knees. And what we're going to do, we're going to push our hips backwards, so we're hinging at the hips. The way I like to coach this is saying that you've got a handful of shopping, and we're looking to close the car door behind us. So from there, we're going to close the car door behind us, and we're going to be looking directly at the floor. Our weight should be in the middle of our foot and onto our heels, and the weights are going to be close to our body. From there, we're going to have our palms facing each other and having our back nice and flat. Engaging that core. From there, we're going to open up, remember, rotating the hips so the pinky leads, and then back down controlled. We're going to be opening up with that pinky and back down and controlled. Again, we're going to be looking at that shoulder, that elbow bend. Yeah, we're not going to go for the straight arm to put too much pressure through the shoulder joint itself. So that's our first line of exercises. Patient, again, we're going to be looking for a range of movement throughout. Again, with that one, we're probably looking between 8 to 6 reps. That's what we're going to be pushing through, because when it gets into a heavier state, we can help to use those legs to extend up while still activating the posterior delts, the supraspinatus, and the upper back muscles, and the rotator cuff as well. However, we're also getting a little bit more of a leg drive, glute drive, and a core balance through that. We're going to be moving into our next exercise now. It's going to be rowing. So we're going to start off with our lower ends. We're going to be looking at about 15 reps for this one. 15 reps of a standing row. So what we're going to be using for this is we're going to be using a resistance band. The way we're going to set this resistance band up, it's going to be a little bit about waist height, a little bit higher than waist height. We're just going to loop that through for the patient from there. And now with this as well, we're going to be working a lot with handles and grip. There's a lot of research indicating that working with grip and handles actually helps shoulder health in the long run. So we're going to be working everything with grip strength as well. So we're going to be starting off with the standing row using this tri-bar grip. We're going to loop it through like so. The patient is then going to take a few steps back, so there's a bit of resistance. The bar should be sitting a little bit low. From there, we're going to bend the knees, squeeze the glutes, and engage the core. The shoulders can roll, that's fine. From there, I want them to squeeze the shoulder blades together, and then pulling in that bar to the chest area. A little bit higher than the belly button, lower than the nipples, and then we're going to be going back down and retracting the shoulder blades. Again, we're going to squeeze the glutes and pull it in, and slowly back out and retracting the shoulder blades. Retracting and squeeze, and then slowly back down. Again, with the workload on this, it's dependent with the band. We'll start them off with a low level for 15 and then progress them through. The standing row is good because it gets the legs working, the hamstrings, quads, glutes. By standing there as well as not falling in, we're activating the core muscles quite a lot as well. The area muscles that we're looking to strengthen within this are your rhomboids, your latissimus dorsi, your posterior delts, your traps, your infraspinatus, your teres major and minor, and your biceps as well, because the bicep strength, health is very important with shoulder rehab. So we're going to be looking at 15 reps for that. We're going to be progressing on this into a bent over row. So with the bent over row, we're going to be looking at 12 to 8 reps throughout. However, we're not going to get my patient picking them up from the floor just yet. So we'll just move the equipment just out of the way. So when we're setting this up, we're going to set up so the bar is at grip height. So I've just demonstrated for this. We're looking so the patient can put their arms down straight with their knee just slightly bent. With their gripping, I want their palms to be facing away from their body so we can incorporate a little bit more bicep work. From here, I like to measure it out. We've got cuts in the bar. I like to get this so you put your thumb either side of the cut, and that will keep you at nice about shoulder width apart. Yeah, nice easy grip. From there, patients go bend their knees, squeeze the glutes, tighten the core up, and extend up. They should be off the rack then. They're going to take a couple steps forward, 2. Toes are going to be pointing forward, and we're going to be pushing our hips back, putting the weight on our heels and midfoot, and slight bend in the knee. We're going to be looking at the floor. From there, we're going to be pulling through, keeping those shoulder blades tight, and then rolling them back, protracting them through. So we're going to squeeze in and then retract on the way back down. Squeeze in and then retract on the way back down. We'll see that from the side view. So again, we're going to be standing nice and upright, toes pointing forward, soft knees, pushing our weight onto the heels, big toe coming off the floor if you want, and then keeping the bar close, we'll squeeze the shoulder blades together and then pulling back up. Back down and retract. And then squeeze in, pull up, back down and contract, yeah? Patient's going to be looking to be bringing that bar up to just above the middle of the belly button, just above the belly button and just below the nipple. So we're looking around this area through here. And we're going to go nice, slow reps on that. Again, we're working double arm on that because we're looking at about building up the strength within the injured area. We're going to move into our final exercise, our progression into that, and we're going to be working into a single row, arm row. Again, we're going to be working with the injured arm for demonstration. The reason why we're doing a single arm row is because it will less fatigue the lower back and the glutes and the legs. That will get worked on an isometric hold through there. We're going to work that a little bit less because in this stage we'll try and push our patient back into a little bit more training, normal training throughout. So what we're going to be looking through, we're going to get our patient with a bench, set it up through here, and they're going to be using dumbbells or a kettlebell or any sort of resistance weight they can find. From there, I'm just going to be demonstrating with the 2 kg dumbbell. I want my patient to hinge at the hips, hand onto the bench. Now this bench could be a little bit higher, that's fine, as long as my patients are like more of a 45-degree angle. Could be a little bit less through here just because of the bench height, but that's fine as well because we're still working the same muscles. Pushing our weight through here, we're going to squeeze our shoulder blades together, pull through and pulling up. Palm's going to be facing inwards, so I want the palm into pocket. Hinging at the hips as we did in the row, soft knees, weight in the mid and heel, and then we're going to be squeezing the shoulder blade, pulling up, keeping that elbow nice and high, neutral spine, and rotate through. We're going to tighten that core up and pull through. It's going to be a nice smooth movement. Pulling up and then slowly back down, getting that stretch. Pulling it up, back down, nice stretch, yeah. And that's what we're going to be looking at for the first stages of our patient through their supraspinatus rehab. Thank you.